next main topic, we are going to be ranking all of the comic book movies and TV shows that is coming out in 2021, minus WandaVision, of course, because that's already started. So we're going to start off at number 8, because there's 8 comic book movies / TV shows that's coming out this year. So we're going to start at 8, do round robin, and we're going to work all the way down to our number 1. So Chris, I'm going to start with you. What is your number 8 pick as far as most anticipated comic book movie?
I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for this, but my least anticipated comic book movie of the year is Venom: Let There Be Carnage. Mostly because, I really wasn't a big fan of the first one, but to give a positive spin, I am excited to see what Andy Serkis does with this film. Yeah. That's the most exciting part about this movie to me, is that Andy Serkis is directing this movie, and he's the king of motion capture. So I'm very interested to see what he does. But I could take it or leave it, to be perfectly honest.
Same. Vash?
Is Eternals. Not because I'm not excited for it. It's just my least. Like, we haven't seen, all we know is about the cast. We have not seen no promo art, no type of poster, no trailer yet. We're still 10 months away, 11 months away. But at the same time, it's like, I know about the Eternals, but they're so small in the Marvel comics. Like, they play a big role in the overall grand scheme in some big comic runs, but the Eternals is just more gonna be a one-off movie, and a lot of people that are not comic book readers, like my girlfriend or my mom, they'll probably watch it, but they won't just probably watch it one time and just never talk about it again. So overall, the Eternals are my number 8. Still excited for it, but out of the 8 we have here, that's my number 8.
That makes sense. But you have to think about the fact that, grandmas now know who Thanos is. So yeah. Marvel's done a really good job at introducing these really wacky cosmic characters to, average cinema goers. So I'm not totally going to discount it as potentially being this out of left field hit. Yeah. But yeah.
We have the benefit of hindsight, but that's what people said about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
Who Groot and Rocket were.
It's never going to work.
It's never. We're comic book fans, you know what I mean? But we're talking about the general population. They had no idea, and Guardians is so popular right now. Thor changed up its style, its visual style and comedic style, and it's so much more like Guardians.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. Eternals could blow us away. My number 8 pick, like Chris, is going to be Venom: Let There Be Carnage.
I'm not alone.
Yes. I am very
excited
to see Venom versus Carnage, but the first Venom movie, I think the first 40 minutes is absolute dog shit. It is the most generic dog shit nonsense that you can find in literally any movie. Go to Netflix, hit play on a random action movie, and it's the same 40 minutes. Obviously, I'm exaggerating, but it's very generic. So I don't have that much faith in Sony to not do the same thing and then just knock it out of the park in the last 30 minutes like they did with Venom. I think the last 40 minutes of Venom is actually really fun until we get to the CGI fight between Venom and whatever the fuck the other symbiote was. I don't
even remember. I don't remember his name.
Have you ever seen the behind the scenes footage of
yes.
Riz Ahmed? And
they're slow motion wrestling against a green screen. It's so excellent.
I have not seen it, but now I do because wow,
dude, you got to check it out. It's so funny.
I definitely will.
It looks so ridiculous. Chat, look it up on YouTube. It is so ridiculous. But let's keep going here.
And chat, if you do find it, please put the link because you'll save me the trouble to look for it. But if you do find the link, please put it in the chat.
Yeah, let's continue here. At number 7, Chris, what do you got?
So number 7 for me isn't too far off from Vash. Number 7's Eternals for me. Not because I'm not excited about it, but we know so little about what the MCU Eternals is going to look like. However, I do have to say, when I was making this list, I remembered that Kit Harington's going to be playing Black Knight in Eternals, and that thought made me more excited about it. So we'll see. I hope that it'll be a good movie, but we just know so little about it at this point. So that's why it ranks so low on my list.
Well, that's going to be very interesting to say because my number 7 is Venom.
Nice.
Let there be carnage. This is very interesting so far. But as much as what James said, the first 40 minutes are booty cheeks. There are booty cheeks. They're ass cheeks. They're doodle cheeks. I don't know what other words I could add to the cheeks. But it is my guilty pleasure. I like Eddie Brock in the comics. And in the movie, it sucks ass, but it's enjoyable because of the actor. He's a tip of my tongue, can't remember. But
Tom Hardy,
thank you. Tom Hardy played a good comedic role because he was talking to himself with Venom. But that's technically literally after the first 30 minutes. So overall, I enjoy it. I like Venom. My favorite comic book character is Spider-Man, and it's lore. I have a poster signed by Stan Lee and everything. It shows how much I love Spider-Man and everything. So just to see Carnage and Venom in the movie and actually done better than Spider-Man 3 in some retrospect, I enjoyed it. So that was my number 7.
Yeah, I definitely think it's better than Spider-Man 3 for sure.
James, you and I need to have a conversation off air.
We will. My number 7 is going to be Eternals.
Wow, flipped.
Wow.
Because I mean, the only thing I've ever read of Eternals was when they interacted with someone else that I was reading in the comics. I was never drawn to the Eternals. There's nothing about them that really interests me. What I'm interested in is the cast, right? Kumail Nanjiani.
Dude, he is ripped.
Yeah. Brian Tyree
Crazy.
Henry, Angelina Jolie. Like, the cast is great. I believe in Kevin Feige, and Feige we trust. So I know it's going to be good. But as far as just hype, I don't have any for this film right now. I just have to wait for it to come out, and we'll see what happens. Keeping it going at number 6, Chris, what do you got?
The Suicide Squad. Again, like I trust James Gunn. I think it'll be a fun movie, but there are movies on this list that I'm more excited about. I'm definitely going to watch it. I hope that it still comes out on HBO Max. Over the last year, I've been pretty selective for when I leave the house. So just the fact that I might be able to see it at home does get me excited about it. But it's not my most anticipated, so it falls lower on the list. It'll be fun, though. I think it'll be a fun movie.
Oh, yeah, it'll definitely be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Vash?
I'm stuck between Black Widow and Suicide Squad, but I'm going to put Black Widow. Because
so low. Interesting. Damn,
because,
okay.
No, because I'm excited for Taskmaster. I like Black Widow in the comics and everything there. But it's just what we've seen with Scarlett Johansson is just more of her tight suit, not as the actress, how good she is as the role of Black Widow. So if we could see that in the movie, I would be excited for it. Because, hey, I have very underwhelming thoughts. If I go in excited and come out great enjoyment film, that's even better when a film actually blow my expectations. So it's just Black Widow was so underwhelming throughout the MCU because she was underused. And sadly, Disney Plus was not out earlier in the streaming stages. So hopefully maybe if they want to add more story of Black Widow as a character in the future, have a Black Widow type of miniseries of 6 episodes showing her in different times before we met her in Avengers time. So I don't mind. But Black Widow's still number 6. It's not that low, but just low.
I hear you. And you make good points too. Like, I mean, I do think that Black Widow got some incredible time to shine in Winter Soldier.
Oh yeah.
And that's like
but just moments. But out of 23 films,
her solo movie is way past due.
Like it's really late in the game. So that's what I'm saying. Like 23 films, then you get a Black Widow film. It's like it should have been around the 14, 12 mark of the movies.
I agree.
Been before she died.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because I mean, I'm fine with it because it takes place like.
It takes place right after Captain America: Civil War.
Like
literally right after that movie, to my understanding.
But at the same time, if this movie never happened, would we really still miss it? So that's what I'm like. I'm excited for it. I like ScarJo. But at the same time, it's just 6. Still excited for it.
Understandable.
My number 6 is going to be Suicide Squad. The Suicide.
What is happening right now, James?
I am very excited for this movie. I think James Gunn is a great director. I think he was made to make something like Suicide Squad. But I don't care about the Suicide Squad, right? Like I can't say that I haven't read the comics because I have, because there are some really good stories, but I don't really care about Task Force X. Like it's not my thing. I don't care about watching them go on missions. Like Amanda Waller isn't my favorite. You know what I mean? So it's not like I'm not hype about the movie. It's just there are other movies that I'm way more hyped for.
I'm excited to see David Desmalchin play Polka Dot Man. That's gonna be awesome.
That's gonna be awesome, dude. Like I'm very excited about that.
What a ridiculous character to put in a movie.
All right, Chris, let's keep it going. What's your number 5?
I just want to say I'm going to freak out if our lists are exactly the same.
I think
number 5 for me is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Okay, you're already different.
Okay, that's a good thing.
That's good.
I'm excited for a kung fu movie in the MCU, and I think this film is going to add a lot to the mythos of the MCU. The Ten Rings, in terms of the overall universe that they've been building, is long overdue. Like, they hinted at the Ten Rings in Iron Man 1. So, I mean, hopefully we'll get a better version of the Mandarin. I know James will definitely be excited about that. Yes. So there are a lot of things about this movie that I'm excited for. But again, some of these other projects that we're going to be talking about just rank a little bit higher. That's why this kind of falls in the middle for me. Like, I'm stoked to see it. Can't wait to see what it adds to the mythology. But there are other things that I'm looking forward to more.
Yeah. Vash?
For me, it's Suicide Squad. I, like James said before, I read the comics of Suicide Squad, Task Force X. I read Deadshot. Deathstroke has been in it. Harley Quinn, Captain Boomerang, Lobo has been in it. Suicide Squad is one of my favorite teams in the DC Comics, behind Teen Titan, Justice League, and Justice League of America. I can name a lot more. The Green Lantern Corps and everything. But Suicide Squad is a band of misfits that are not all bad. Some are anti-heroes, just the way they execute stuff, and they all have all different reasons of why they did it. But Amanda Waller just has a vision of how she wants to save the world without heroes, but she wants to do it in a government way. But the way she does is by having a bomb on their necks or having in different aspects. But I just love the characters, and I like James Gunn, his vision. And if we have seen Guardians of the Galaxy, he does his vision very colorful, very crazy, very wild. And the snippet we saw, or the reel we saw last year at DC Dome, I like what we saw, and I have faith in James Gunn to do a better version of Suicide Squad instead of what we got in the first one, and it'll be a better version. Sadly, we're not getting Will Smith and a couple other actors back, but overall, I'm excited.
I think Warner Brothers just wants to forget that movie exists.
Which is fine, which is totally understandable.
They
but
should.
I'm more excited to see also James Gunn do justice much better with Harley Quinn than the first one, because Harley Quinn is much better character that she's not a freaking sex appeal all the time. Yes, it's done in the comics, but more as a comedy or as a trope. But when you're literally having a feature film for almost 2 hours of a sex appeal, kind of gets redundant and boring. Like, we could just find those things in other places or in home fantasies. But to have in a film is not really important. But I'm excited for Suicide Squad. That's what's at my number 5.
He definitely knows how to direct delinquents.
Yes.
So I think he's going to have
Yep.
a lot of fun with this movie.
My number 5 is going to be Black Widow. I'm really excited for this movie. I can't wait to see Taskmaster on screen. I've called it multiple times. I will here for the first time on Villains. Rachel Weisz is Taskmaster. I don't think you cast Rachel Weisz to be in this movie just to be some like extra person from Natasha's past. I think she's going to end up being Taskmaster, and I think that would be awesome to like switch it up and make Taskmaster a woman in this universe. I think
that would be cool.
The only reason why I'm not as hyped for this movie is because I don't want to say it undermines her death in Endgame, but like we talked about before, I just wish it came before Endgame and we got to see all of that build up for Natasha so that when she does die, it's even more impactful. Yes, we've spent so many years with her, but I feel like it would have been more impactful to see her in her own movie, battling her past, her demons, everything that was released about her when she release all of that information at the end of Winter Soldier. You know what I mean? Like that's the stuff that I wanted to see, and I just felt like it would be more impactful if it came before Endgame. And I'm just more excited to see the other movies on this list.
Yeah.
Quick thing.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, there are no stakes. You know, like we know that she lives. So
Yeah.
in any way that they threaten her, we know that it's not going to have an impact on the greater MCU, unless she like switches places with Yelena Belova or something, and it totally like recontextualizes what we've seen in Infinity War and Endgame. But I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, quick thing. I'm sorry that I'm about to mess up your guys' list right now because I have it on my list, but I just saw that you guys, sorry, James, you missed something, and that's Loki, the series that's coming in May right after Black Widow.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't.
'Cause-
Oh my god, I'm sorry I missed that.
Because I had it on my list. I'm like, no wonder I kept seeing your list. I'm like, why do I feel like something's missing? And I'm
I can
like,
still squeeze it in.
yeah, because
Yeah,
I
I haven't
have
gotten there yet.
because I have Loki in my top 5, and I'm like, why is Loki not his list? But I'm like, I should tell them before we get to number 1, and things just makes things worse. But
Thank you.
Yeah, my bad, chat.
yeah, because I'm like, hold up. But Chris, it's your turn. Sorry about that.
My number 4 is Black Widow. So it's kind of smack dab in the middle, and I'm really excited. I feel like I'm saying the same thing for all these things. I'm really excited for this project, but when it comes to Black Widow, it's been delayed so many times, and I've been on a roller coaster ride of emotion with the release dates for this film. Brian, one of my co-hosts, and Christian, the host of Pop-O-Holics, can attest to that. I just want it to come out on Disney Plus, but
Yeah.
the hype train has been so up and down for this movie that I'm just like, just let me see it already. I don't care when. Just put it out. Like you have other projects to work on. So that's kind of how I feel about it. But I want to see it. It's just not my number 1.
Yeah. Vash, let's keep it going.
So for me, number 5, which because we added one more number,
one.
yeah. So number 5 is Shang-Chi.
Oh, true. My bad.
Yeah,
You're good.
It's my number 5.
yeah. So for me, it's Shang-Chi. What's the full title again?
And the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Yes, because of what Chris said and James said, we're finally seeing the Mandarin, the actual freaking Mandarin that we have seen in the comics, in the cartoons of Iron Man, the Iron Man Adventures, that he's one of the most strongest opponent of Iron Man in the Marvel comics, because those 10 rings could change. It's almost as powerful as the whole Infinity Stones. It's just a lower version of it for those people that don't read comics just to understand. And I wanted to see justice. And for people that don't know about Shang-Chi, he's studying the same realm or Conkling with Iron Fist.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's as strong or stronger than Iron Fist in combat, close combat. Because if people want to search in YouTube or in Google, the search was the 10 close combat people in comics of Marvel, and Shang-Chi will be in the top 10. He's very strong, so I can't wait to see it. And also, one of the most beautiful thing is an all-Asian cast as well, and that's very beautiful to see.
That's
as
a
well.
great thing. Yeah.
And I love that because when you have a cast that's very diverse, and in the film that's called Shang-Chi, you should have an Asian cast because you're living to the hype of what it was in the comics to bring it. So I'm very happy of what Kevin Feige is doing with that concept of that movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's not be gods of Egypt and make Sigourney Weaver an Egyptian queen. Let's not do that.
So bad.
But my new number 5, that's going to be Spider-Man 3, which I am titling Spider-Man Home for the Holidays. I'm so hyped for this movie. Like you, Chris, I feel like I'm saying that for every single one of these because I am super hyped for every single one of these. But very curious to see how it fits into WandaVision, how it fits into Multiverse of Madness. Is this going to tease Spider-Verse in some way? How are they going to do that? Are we going to see any other Spider people? Will we see Spider-Gwen? Will we see Silk? Like, these are things that I'm really, really intrigued about. So can't wait for Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, Spider-Man 3 is my new number 4, I guess, right now. Yeah, Spider-Man 3 is my number 4. For all the reasons that you just mentioned, I'm just a little more excited about it, I guess, in terms of where we're ranking them. It's going to be so interesting to see those characters come into the MCU, like Doc Ock from a different universe and Electro from a different universe, and how he interacts with Doctor Strange. They have a really strong relationship in the comic books, and we've kind of already seen glimpses of it in Infinity War. So I'm excited to see how those characters interact. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And oh god, if this is a Christmas movie, I'm going to be so excited. You have no
It
idea.
is.
It is, yeah.
It is.
All
We
of
know that elements of it take
Yes.
place at Christmas, but we don't know that all of it takes place at Christmas. Like Iron Man
That
3
is
is
true.
the best Christmas movie of all time because the entire thing takes place at Christmas.
No, that's Die Hard.
So-
That's for Die Hard. I'm sorry. Die
All right.
Hard.
Well, this was the.
That's it, folks. I'll see you later.
What is your new number 4?
My new number 4, and James might hate me for this, is Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I like Falcon and Winter Soldier in the comics. I just like we said about Black Widow and everything. We just didn't get too much shine for them in the whole grand scheme of the 23 films that we have gotten. So I'm very excited for it, but not as excited as my other top 3. So I'm excited for Sebastian Stan. He's amazing for what he does, and wish he was the one that played Luke in something else I'm gonna say, but not gonna be talking about. But Sebastian Stan and Falcon, can't wait to see what he does, and to see Falcon accept the role as the new Captain America, to see how it's being portrayed from the comics to live adaptation for it, and how he sees himself as the new symbol, what he believes himself as the character, as the role. I'm very excited for it.
Yeah. My number 4 is going to be Loki. Loki looks like it's going to be, again, so much fun. I love that we're going to get this version of Loki that we came to love in the beginning, right? We are getting Loki directly after the events of the first Avengers movie, who didn't have all of this character growth, who didn't go through all of this like bonding that he had with Thor and everyone else, who essentially became an honorary Avenger in my mind before he died at the beginning of Endgame. So I'm very excited for the Loki series. I'm very excited to see how the Time Agency is going to fit into that. I'm very excited to see if we're going to get any Kang the Conqueror Easter eggs, because this Time Agency has a lot of stuff to do with Kang and his time traveling.
Yeah.
So I want to see if we're going to get like the first like glimpse or just Easter eggs of Kang in Loki before we get to Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumanium. So very excited for Loki. Tom Hiddleston is just so awesome. And to get to see him be the scumbag, the god of mischief that we know and love, I'm really looking forward to it. So yeah, can't wait to see it.
Yeah, he plays that character so well, and that's why it's my number 3. Again, just a little bit higher for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, for all this, again, all the same reasons that you mentioned, James, like time travel, Tom Hiddleston is Loki, the weirdest corners of the Marvel universe. Like, I'm absolutely here for all of it. And Loki's also my wife's favorite character, so I know that this is a show that she'll have a lot of fun watching with me. So that's always nice.
Nice. Vash?
For me, it's Spider-Man 3, and what James wrote is Home for the Holidays. Spider-Man 3, Tom Holland.
Not the official title.
Yes, not the official title, by the way, guys. Is what we just call it right now. But I like Tom Holland portrayed of Spider-Man, the character, himself as an actor. If you put him as the MCU, I got different thoughts about that. But overall, I'm excited for Spider-Man 3 because I'm curious to know that they did it so early to have Spider-Man secret identity revealed. So I'm curious to know, like, how are they going to portray that? Where's that story going? Or are they going to just have it for the first 10 minutes and then everybody forgot about it? So hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully they can do a good storyline with it. And like the co-host and everybody here said, we have other actors coming back. Dr. Tavius and everybody else. We have Electro and everything. Like, if all those rumors and everything is being said true, this film is going to be great. So I'm really curious to know, once we get a trailer within the next couple of weeks coming out, I can't wait.
You know, to your point, Vash, about them like potentially dropping the cliffhanger at the end of Far From Home, I don't think they will, because we have gotten stills of like posters around New York City that say citizens defending Spider-Man, and then there are also Mysterio posters that say like I believe. So I definitely think there are going to be different factions that exist that like believe that Peter Parker's Spider-Man or that he isn't, or like who cares, or like I stand with Mysterio, like Peter Parker's a menace, you know? So I think it'll be interesting.
And plus, to add to that, because I saw a leaked picture of him walking down New York City in the snow in the Christmas theme, and he was just walking down the street, so like nobody really stopped him or anything. So
Right.
I'm just curious to know what
That's
is the context. So like, is this halfway of the film where people accepted it that he's Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, or did somebody, Doctor Strange, say, "All right, I'm gonna do a magic trick," and everybody forgot? So I'm curious to know where we go with that storyline. So I hope they don't cut it off the first 5-10 minutes. Hopefully they do something with it.
First 10 minutes, Stephen Strange is like, forgotten. And then the movie just progresses.
They're like, I got you, pew.
I mean, you know what? You bring up a good point. Like, maybe it shouldn't be that big a deal. You know what I mean? Because everyone else's identity is out there. Like, there's no one else that has a secret identity. Everyone knows who everyone is.
Yeah.
I feel like Spider-Man's rogues gallery is so vicious, though. They would
hell yeah.
take advantage of that information and really go after the people that Peter cares about. At least that's what we've seen in the comic books.
Oh, they have.
So-
He has the most vicious gallery of villains that does not care who he is. He will, and they have attack on May. They have attacked Mary Jane and his other loved ones. So it's like he cannot do much about it if people know his whole secret identity. Like, what can he
Right.
do?
Yeah. My number 3 is going to be Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Man, I can't wait for this movie. I've been waiting to see Shang-Chi for a long time now. I've been waiting for more diversity in the MCU and to get I believe the director of Crazy Rich Asians is going to be directing this movie. All Asian cast. Like, this is going to be sick. I can't remember the actor's name right now, but he's been lobbying for this role forever, for years.
Is it Sam Liu? Is that his name?
Yeah, I think that's his name. Yeah, he's been lobbying for this role for years, and he finally got it. He actually released a clip. It's not related to the MCU at all, but he released a clip of just like some fight choreography with like some friends of his, and it's just cool to see how charismatic he is while he's fighting, and you can tell that that's going to be in Shang-Chi, and I can't wait to see Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings in the MCU lens. I can't wait to see the real Mandarin and how they'll handle the Ten Rings. Like, I can't wait to see all of that stuff. So that's why it's up there as my number 3.
And plus to
Simu
add-
Liu. Sorry, chat. His
And
name
plus-
is Simu Liu. Sorry, I knew I was wrong and I just wanted to correct myself.
Oh yes, it's fine. But I was gonna add about. I hope the Ten Rings also look great as well, because if they look great, those will be sold as great type of jewelry to buy. Because I would love to just hold some type of jewelry. If Marvel wants to kind of probably collab with Case Jewelry or Pandora or something, and say like have some nice rings as props, that'd be amazing.
It'll happen. Definitely.
So
If they're releasing prop replicas of Wanda and Vision's wedding bands, we're gonna get the 10 rings.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I mean, people will buy it. Like, it's easy.
I would
merch.
buy it. It's just wear the 10 rings on until my whole fingers. Hell yeah.
Chris, I am very curious to see what your top 2.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see the order of the top 2. I should say. So let's start it off. What's your number 2?
Number 2, and this is crazy to me that it made number 2, because James knows how I feel about this entire cinematic universe.
Oh, I know
Zack
what it is.
Snyder's Justice League
Yep.
is my second most anticipated movie of this year, and we didn't talk about it, but today they released the release day.
Yeah.
And that it's actually going to be a 4-hour movie and not a miniseries like we originally thought. So
Yeah.
I'm down for that. I'll sit and watch a 4-hour Justice League movie. I'm mostly interested in this because it's setting a precedent that's never taken place in Hollywood before, where the fans themselves lobbied so hard to get this cut to come out that it actually came to fruition.
Yep.
And I'm excited to see one creative mind kind of finish his vision. You know, despite how I felt initially about BVS, the director's cut of that movie is okay. You know, I feel like that's the case with a lot of Zack Snyder's stuff. Like, the director's cut, when he has full control, they tend to be okay. You know, enjoyable watches. So if I have to sit through a 4-hour Justice League to see like the true vision of what he wanted, I'm all here for it.
Definitely. Vash?
James, I have mine as Justice League Zack Snyder as well. But before I go on to know if you have it as well, so if we could just have a whole discussion.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. So my number two is also Zack
Sweet.
Snyder's Justice League. So now we can just talk about
Yeah,
the
great.
top two together. So why didn't you give your thoughts on why you put it as your number two?
It's literally exactly what Chris said, because if you really think about it, this is the first time this happened in all of freaking cinema, that a bunch of fans is like, without social media, this will have not happened. Like back in the day,
Oh, definitely not.
a lot of people would have a newspaper trying to fill a whole ballot. Bring hashtag this whole Snyder cut. That would have not survived. But with social media, the hashtag continue being tweeted. There is usernames of bring back the Snyder cut. There's a whole Twitter account for it. So for it to be after many years later, well, like less than 4 years later, to actually have a version of a whole different movie, it's insane to know that this actually happened. And I love the Justice League. If people ask me sometimes Marvel, DC, it just depends on what issues or runs, but it's just like seeing the Justice League what I grew up with, Superman, Batman, Aquaman actually look good, not made fun of just like in Family Guy and everything. So to actually have good characters, Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot. What you can say about Wonder Woman 2, she still is a great Wonder Woman portrayed, no matter how it was the movie itself. She plays an amazing role, and
Definitely.
and to see Superman, Henry Cavill portrayed once more, and not the whole ugly ass mustache look on the screen, that with that much money you guys have and you cannot do a good ass job with it, very disrespectful to Henry Cavill. But I'm excited, and hopefully we see a better version of Ben Affleck where it's not just him just sleeping it in. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I am beyond excited for the Snyder cut. I was one of those people that just didn't think that WB
Yep.
would put the money into it. I
Oh
was
yeah.
one of
It was
people-
never gonna happen.
Yeah, it's like it's not that I didn't believe it didn't exist. It's like I know. It's like Brian said in chat, like Zack Snyder only got like 1/3 of of his film into the actual
Yep.
League movie
Yeah.
that came out, and Joss Whedon made this dog shit movie that barely crossed $600 million. Can you believe that? A Justice League movie
It's
can't
crazy.
even make $1 billion. It barely made $500 million. It's insane to think about, right?
If you would have asked me when I was like, I don't know, 14 years old, watching Justice League Unlimited, if a Justice League movie would be successful, I would have been like,
Hell yeah!
absolutely. It would have been $1 billion movie.
Or more, like 2 billion
I s-
perhaps.
I can't believe how poorly that film did. It shouldn't
Yeah.
have performed that way.
It's a garbage movie. Batman doesn't make quips. Like you ripped out all of the Victor Stone backstory. You ripped out all of the Flash stuff with Iris. So that's really the stuff that I'm looking forward to. There's so much backstory with Aquaman that we're supposed to have. Again, like I just said with Barry and Iris, I want to see Ben Affleck as real Batman, not that bullshit that we got in Justice League. I hope that Ezra Miller's Flash is different, because I don't like his interpretation of the Flash in the DCEU so far. I don't like how, like, I mean, it's fine how awkward he is. There's nothing wrong with that. But I hate the way he runs. I think it looks really stupid. And I hate the fact that he's so, like, scared all the time. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not the Barry Allen that I know and that I recognize. Barry Allen is my second favorite DC character, period. So I was very, very disappointed by that.
I 100% agree, because Ezra Miller reminds me of Bart Allen portrayed version, not the Barry Allen or Wally, because Bart is the one
Yeah.
that's scared to run because of his mistakes he has done, because he wants to live up to the hype of his grandfather and of his Uncle Wally and everything. So he has that much pressure on him. So when I saw Ezra Miller version, I'm like, why are you playing Bart? Like the version of Bart, you're supposed to play Barry. He's the one that loves to run. He's the one that has the idea, the concept that he doesn't want to make the mistakes he made because of his mom. You want to fix the
Exactly.
mistakes, and that's what it is. It's like, why you're scared? You were supposed to run. You're always supposed to run and save all the others. You're not supposed to be scared. You have the
Yeah.
speed to change, and that's what bothered me. It's like Barry is not like that.
Yeah, at all. Like, this dude is driven by a sense of purpose. For fuck's sake, he ran back in time to try to save his mom, realized that it would destroy the universe.
Somehow,
It's like, 'cause it would create a
Yeah.
paradox. But, I mean, just the the promise, just like Batman, like I will not allow someone else to lose their parents the way that I did. And this Barry Allen couldn't even just run into a room and pull someone out. Like I just feel like it was done really poorly. Doesn't matter anymore. That movie no longer exists in my mind. I can't wait for this cut. I can't wait to see Zack Snyder's version of Steppenwolf. I
Yes,
can't
Dark
wait-
Side.
He looks awesome.
Dark
I
Side
can't wait
finally.
to see Dark Side. We're actually going to get more of the nightmare sequence that actually leads into Dark Side.
Question.
Even though we're not going to get like a Dark Side full movie, because Walter Hamada has already said that they're not continuing anything after
Yeah.
Zack Snyder's Justice League. So that's unfortunate. We will get Dark Side at some point, just not his version. But that's all the stuff that I want to see. And I am so happy that it's going to be a 4-hour movie and not 4 parts. Because once I get to an hour, I don't want it to cut. Like, you're going to ruin the pacing of the entire story. So just give me the whole thing all at once, where I can just binge the entire thing all at once and just have a blast, man. Like, I am so looking forward to this movie.
Right. And it's going to be on HBO Max. So if you're a type of viewer that like needs to pause and take a break or something, you can, but at least
So-
you can watch it all in one sitting.
So,
Yeah.
my quick question about that, because you know how in the Zack Snyder, Josh Whedon version, we saw like a 2-minute or less scene of Green Lantern. Do you think we're gonna expand that scene with the flashback with the Amazon with Steppenwolf back then? Do you think we're gonna see more of that Green Lantern? Because even though they haven't spoken much about that within the recent coverage,
I don't think so. Not in Zack Snyder's Justice League, anyway.
Chris.
Yeah. I don't think we'll see Green Lantern. I know that the scene with Alfred in the garage wasn't that manipulated to be Green Lantern at one point. It was actually Superman in Snyder's cut.
Yes,
Yeah,
it was rumored.
black.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it was there was rumors going around that it could be GL. I actually wanted it to be GL, actually.
If it was
Would've been
GL,
cool.
I wish it was John Smith, because as much as I love to see Hal Jordan again, like I just want to see John Smith on screen one day. Like I just hope to see.
John Stewart.
Yes, John Stewart. Thank you. I don't know why I
Yeah.
said John Smith.
He's my favorite GL. It needs to be a series. I think a Green Lantern movie will not work. And stay tuned for episode 4 of Villains, because that's actually going to be the main topic number 2 of the next episode, where we're going to be talking about movies and just movies that would work better as TV series. So definitely stay
Very
tuned.
cool.
For that. So let's talk about our number 1 pick before we head out for the night. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier obviously is our most anticipated.
Well,
comic
it's
book.
at least our most anticipated. It fell lower on Vash's list.
I'm about to
So
say
let's
mine
not
is-
let's not alienate.
Yeah, for me, it's minus Loki.
There you go.
Yeah, minus Loki for number 1. That's what I'm excited for.
That's totally valid. That series is gonna be dope.
Would you want me to
Yes.
explain mine first, or would you guys want to go?
No. Go ahead. Go first, and then Chris and I will talk about Falcon and Winter Soldier.
It's just that trailer just made me so excited to see Loki, and Loki is just portrayed so good in the MCU, and within the comics, with this trailer we saw, we're gonna see the whole female Loki. We're gonna see all President Loki, like all different versions within the universe of the MCU of Loki, and we're gonna see the Time Patrol of the MCU. Forgot what's their name, but I'm very excited to see that. And what it connects for the future of the series. Is this going to be like a season 2? Is it going to be more of Loki, or is it just a one-off season of his character? So I'm very excited, because all we saw the growth and character development we saw of Loki himself within the whole 23 films is gone. This is just literally after Avengers. So he's still the whole sneaky brother. He's still the whole revengeful that wants to take out Thor. So he doesn't know what has been going on. So I'm really curious to know, how does this intertwine with the grander scheme of the MCU, or is this like a whole pocket universe of just side missions of Loki trying to fix the timeline because he's in trouble with the Time Patrol of the MCU version? So I'm really excited to see that, and I'm really excited to see each episode of how well WandaVision was, and to see Loki himself as the actor. He was so good. Can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, I think it to me it's pretty definitive the way they explain the time travel in Endgame, that this is definitely a pocket universe, if you will, an alternate
Yeah.
timeline. So anything that happens after this has absolutely nothing to do with the main timeline that we know. So it doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, everything that Loki does starts a future that's even further away from what we know from the main timeline. So that in itself is cool because they can do anything. They can
Yep.
bring Heimdall back. They can do literally anything because it's a completely different timeline. But
It's also perfect concept for the god of mischief, you know?
yeah, it's amazing. Like,
Just wreaking havoc across the universe.
yeah, I can't wait, man. But Chris, we have the same number one.
We
Falcon
do.
and Soldier.
Yeah.
Cap is my favorite Marvel hero. The reason for that is Cap is one of those heroes that didn't accidentally get powers. He didn't well, he did lose his parents in the war, but he didn't like accidentally get powers or was born a mutant and decided to use his powers for good. He is just a genuinely great person that saw everyone else putting their lives on the line to protect the people that they love, and he felt that he should do the exact same thing. You know what I mean? And that's what makes Captain America such a great hero.
Yeah.
And I think Bucky's amazing. I love Bucky Captain America. I love the Falcon, the Sam Wilson Captain America run. I thought that was great to see a black Captain America that wasn't trying to be Steve Rogers. He was his own Captain America. It never felt like they were trying to copy that. So that was great to me. So I am really looking forward to this series. I'm so curious to see how Zemo is going to play into this series. I want to know if he's like the main bad of the series, and much like
I think he could potentially be like an anti-hero, maybe.
maybe, I don't know.
They did say that we will see Crossbones as well during the series as well.
Isn't he dead?
I was gonna say he's very dead.
He blew up.
If anything, I probably misheard that it's either going to be in Loki then, because I heard that they're going to bring back Crossbones in some way. Is what I heard.
It would have to be something in an alternate timeline because he's beyond dead.
I think isn't Frank Grillo credited for the What If series, the animated series?
I'm pretty sure
Maybe
he
that's
is.
maybe that's what it was. I don't know.
Maybe,
Could be, yeah. I could be
yeah,
wrong
but yeah, it's possible.
Sorry, I interrupted you, James. Continue.
Oh no, you're fine. It's just I'm very interested into much like WandaVision again. Like there's so many deep cuts. I want to see like how that's gonna play into Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Like much like WandaVision, there was just those small little Easter eggs of like Hydra and stuff. I want to see something like that in Falcon and Winter Soldier. I don't know. I want to know more about Bucky's past. Like during missions that he was on while he was still the Winter Soldier. I want to know more about Sam Wilson. I want to see them grow and trying to be the symbol that their best friend was. So, Chris, what are your thoughts on Falcon and Winter Soldier?
Very similar to yours. Captain America isn't one of my favorite characters in the comic books, but what Chris Evans has done with Captain America in the MCU, he is absolutely my favorite character in the MCU. He's the moral center and compass of every other character in the Avengers. And to be perfectly honest, I think his films are the strongest in the MCU. The first Captain America Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War, even if you count like all the Avengers movies, like literally that one character has been in some of the best films that the MCU has to offer. And yes, this series isn't going to focus on, the Steve Rogers Captain America, but the relationship that we've seen and the fun dynamic that we've seen between Bucky and Sam is so fun and so strong. And so far they've been shown to be characters that like really don't like each other, but they have this mutual friend, so they just like try to get along with each other. So it's this weird like buddy cop, odd couple dynamic that we're probably going to be seeing. And I'm just besides that, I'm really excited to see what Anthony Mackie does with becoming Captain America. Like we've watched him be Falcon over the course of all these films. I definitely agree with you that there's a heft and a weight to taking up that mantle, and I'm very interested to see what he does with this character, because I do think we will see him become Captain America by the end of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So I'm pumped.
Yeah, I hope so too. Like I'm so hyped for all of these movies, man. Like It is a great time to be a comic book fan. It's a great time to be a fan of superhero movies, of Star Wars. It's also a great time for fandom. Like what we're getting with WandaVision is amazing, man. Like I feel like it easily holds up with any of the MCU movies. Like
Oh yes, it
easy.
does.
Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to do the exact same thing, and so will Loki. There is just so much potential, and Kevin Feige, man, like this dude, it just proves that it helps that you need someone that knows business, that can be a stern executive, but also who's a huge comic book fan, and that's something that WB and Sony is completely missing. Sure, DC has Jeff Johns, he writes stuff sometimes, but I don't feel like he's enough. And he's just a comic book writer. I don't think he has all of the skills necessary to pump out great comic book movie scripts. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah. Also, according to Ray Fisher, he's not a great guy.
Yes,
But we don't have to get into that. Sorry.
that would be a whole nother episode.
But I want to add to what you guys were saying. I'm also curious to know what happens in Cap and Falcon or Winter Soldier. Who are they working for? What type of missions they're doing? Like, who are they taking down? Like, I'm curious to know what's the grander scheme and how does this connect to the grander scheme of the MCU? Like, why? Like, okay, they're working together, but who are they taking down? What is so bad right now in the year 2023? What's going on?
I hope they're not working with anyone because I feel like
Right.
that's against Cap's ideals. That was the whole point of him going against the Accords.
Yeah.
From what we know about the series, the limited amount that we know about the series, we know that U.S. Agent's going to be in the series. And I think he's going to be like the government's pick to be the next Captain America. And a lot of the show is going to be about the two of them maybe taking him down. I feel like there could potentially be a turn in the middle of the show where U.S. Agent becomes a villain. But we'll see.
And plus, if I'm correct, Agent 23 comes back in this show, right?
Yeah, Agent 13.
Yeah, Agent 13, yeah.
Sharon Carter.
Yeah, Sharon
Yeah.
Carter. She comes back during the show, so I'm curious to see how does she add to the whole dynamic without Steve Rogers now.
And Maria Hill. Like I'm curious to see
Yes.
like where she is because we didn't see her with Nick Fury. I'm sure she's on the ship or associated with Sword in some capacity.
Yeah, she
But I
has
feel
to.
like Falcon and Winter Soldier would be a great place for her to show up.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see like where their allegiances lie, especially considering that like Bucky can't really work with the government. He's a terrorist. So
Yeah.
despite what he's done behind the scenes, like most people think he's a terrorist.
Mhm.
So I don't know. It'll be a
That's-
fun show,
That's
and it'll be very
another-
different from WandaVision.
Yeah, that's another thing, and I'm glad you brought it up that I completely forgot to bring up, was how will the world perceive Bucky Barnes? I mean, for 70 years, this guy has assassinated key people for Hydra. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So how will people look at him? Will they be able to get over it? Like, will they be able to understand that he was brainwashed? You know what I mean? Like, how will people feel about him? So that's a great point, and that's something that I really need to see from the show.
Well, I'm also curious to know that if they're gonna use what happened in the comics with Sam becoming the new Cap, are they gonna use the whole racism aspect in the film? Are they gonna use that like, oh, he's black, he should not be like we had Captain America, he was white? Like, I wonder if we're gonna use that in the actual film, even though in the comics back in the early 80s and 90s, but the concept could still work until this day.
Yeah. The symbol of America can't be a darkie. What are you doing?
If
Yeah.
Disney had the balls to make that an element of
I hope
the
they do.
narrative, I would
I
have to
think-
give them props.
I mean,
I don't know if they do.
They didn't
but-
shy away from it in Black Panther.
That's
I mean,
true.
That's true. That is
Listen
true.
to most of Killmonger's dialogue. It's about Wakanda not doing anything while our people were
Right.
slaves. They did nothing while our people are being drugged on the streets and getting into the cocaine and being homeless. Wakanda could have done something. They have all of the money. They have all of the resources possible, and they did nothing.
Yeah.
So I would actually be disappointed if they didn't go into that stuff.
I'm sure it'll come into play.
Same.